Good morning, everyone. It is September the 14th, 2023. I hope everyone had a good summer. And as you can see, the weather's now changing. We're almost into fall, and then we're going into winter. So the seasons are changing, and I put up one video, showed you a little bit how the seasons were changing for the homeless people. This is another interesting change that I'd like to talk to you about today. And this is on the, as you can see from the title, The Bag Lady. I'm going to talk a little bit about Julie and what it's like for the homeless, having to carry bags constantly because they have no place to put their bags. So this also affects the homeless from season to season, because right now everyone's still carrying their summer clothes with them in their bags, and that's to be expected. And Julie's doing the same thing like everybody else. And it's been very difficult for them. So they either lose the bag, they get the bag stolen, as I've talked in other interviews, and in the shelters, they have things stolen. And what do they do with all the items that are stolen? And what do they do when they have to replace them? And what do they do when they have to replace a whole set of clothing for a new season? So it's a big complication for them. And of course, like us, we're so well organized. I mean, we have a dresser, definitely, in our apartment or our home. We have the bed. We have the closets to put all the clothes in. And, of course, we're all so well organized. And like us ladies, I mean, no problem. We have a place for our makeup, and we have a place for our shoes, and we definitely have an underwear drawer. We have all the things that are necessity and how to organize things. Well, these poor people would have to live out of bags. And Julie, for 20 years, she's had to live out of bags. She's had things stolen. She's lost things. It's been really hard on her. So the little bit of money sometimes that she gets from her ODSP has to go constantly on different seasonal clothing for her because she's got no place to put everything. So this is a really, really interesting problem that we have. And what happens? And I've seen some of these clothes after you carry them. They'll carry them, and they'll have maybe 7 bags with them sometimes. I know I've seen Julie over the years. She's got that grocery cart that she has carried them in. She'll sometimes park the grocery cart, and next thing you know, somebody will come up and rip her off and take things out of the grocery cart. The other way, these people carry their belongings if they don't have a suitcase. Some do. But if they don't have a suitcase, no problem. Just go get our green bin or one of our recyclable bins. And you'll see them pushing their belongings down the street in those as well, trying to hang on to all these different belongings. So everything goes from season to season. And the other thing is, if they get tired of carrying it all, they just leave the bag. To hell with it for this season. They'll have to try and see if they can get more clothes for the following season. So, and just try and carry, say, the winter clothes with them, whatever they need. And hopefully nothing gets stolen or nothing gets taken. So I just want to give you a brief introduction of the problems here, again, that we're having. And of course, some of these clothes, like I said, they just get left on the street, or I see jackets. Well, it's a summer jacket. What the heck? I'll just throw it on the ground. So this adds our garbage coming up, piling up on the streets on us down here. So that's another problem that we have there. And, it's not like they cannot organize themselves. And this is like, how well organized are we? I can tell you I'm mostly organized, but I'll give you a little example of when things do go wrong, but it's not a catastrophe for us. And I remember being very tired one night, just overtired. I guess I got up in the middle, and of course, like we all do, we have our cell phones, and most of us just put the cell phone on the night table beside us so that we can tell the time or whatever we need. And I guess I got up in the middle of the night. And so I must have grabbed my cell phone or looking for the time or looking for something. And then I was thirsty, and I guess I went to the kitchen. And so I didn't know what went on, half asleep. And then I went back to bed. In the morning, I got up, and I looked at my night table, and I got the bottle of orange juice where my cell phone's supposed to be. And I'm like, uh-oh, where's my cell phone? That's what's going on here. So, I'm looking high and low around the house, trying to find my cell phone. Can't find it. So then And all of a sudden dawns on me, oh, no problem. I've got my home phone. So all I have to do is use my home phone to call my cell phone. No problem. So I went around the house, used my home phone, and all of a sudden I heard some ringing from somewhere, and it was faint. So I go in to the kitchen, and I realized, well, it's coming from the kitchen, but where's it coming from? So I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I realize that the ringing is very faint, but it's coming from the refrigerator. So I open my refrigerator door, and here, instead of putting the bottle of orange juice in the refrigerator the night before, I had put my cell phone in the refrigerator. But I can remember a time, like I said, that wasn't a disaster for us, but for Julie, it becomes a disaster. Because I remember her coming in to do the taping one time, and she had 7 bags in her hands, and she put the bags down, and she needed to use her cell phone. So she's frantically going through all these bags because she can't find her cell phone. I said, Julie, don't panic, for goodness sakes. It's not a problem. What's your phone number? I'll call your phone. We'll find it. And of course, yep, we got a bag that was ringing. So she didn't lose her cell phone. She wasn't panicking, because she was panicking. She thought it was stolen again. So, I mean, this is, these poor people cannot organize themselves without an apartment or someplace or a room or even a dorm where they can have some of the simplest things such as a bed, a dresser, a clothes closet, at least, to put their clothes in, and a locked door so nothing goes disappearing. So that would be a step forward to helping these people organize themselves, and we wouldn't have clothes all over the streets that they leave behind or in the buildings when they get in the buildings, and they have the bedding. Everything gets left out on the streets, disorganized. And I feel so sorry for them in some ways, because some of these people aren't even asking for this. They just lost their home. They suddenly find themselves in a shelter. They suddenly have to live out of bags. They have no idea how to organize things or what to do. And we're certainly not helping them any. And we're not helping ourselves any by having our streets in disorganization as well. So there's got to be much better ways of doing things. And I've got lots of suggestions too, but I could probably sit here for 2 or 3 hours and have a good conversation with everyone from here. But I just wanted to tell you that this is, again, we may have more clothing. We're going to see more things that are definitely changing. They're trying to get into the buildings now for the drugs. Everything's changing right now at this time of the year. So we have to be on the lookout. We have to be compassionate with a lot of these people. But we have to do things in a totally different way. And I just keep trying to remind people of what's actually going on here and how can we do it. I see a way of just getting some of these people who've just lost their homes in the shelters or the mentally ill, even just putting up buildings with a dorm in it. So all they have is a bed, a dresser, and a closet for their stuff, and a locked door so that they're safe. And that would be like a temporary measure for an extension for later down the road while we're building the affordable housing as well as the supportive housing. And this house them temporarily in there until we get the housing that's necessary, because the 3 levels of government, I just keep hearing one government says one thing, the other government says the other thing, and it's like nobody can get their act together here. So this is what I just wanted to talk about today, and there's still lots more that I've got to say on this too, and so it's never ending, and it's a never ending story, literally. So there's lots to still come, and everyone have a good day, and thank you again for listening, and take care, be safe, and be aware of your surroundings again, and take care. Bye-bye.